Good day. Today we're going to be looking at the SunFounder RasPad 3, the portable tablet for the Raspberry Pi. So with that being said, let's have a look and see what we got. Alright, so in this box we have the RasPad 3. So with it, it has easy SD card access. It has a 6-axis gyroscope in there. So it depends on if you're tilting it or rotating your Raspberry Pi, you're going to be able to get your screen the way you want it to. It does have the Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, which we would expect to have. I wonder if there's a separate adapter in there for it. And it has the battery pack in there. I'm going to be kind of curious to see if the battery pack is something that we're going to be able to upgrade or, be able to replace fairly easy if need be. So it does have the 10.1 IPS touchscreen on it, and it has stereo speakers, which is a great added bonus if you're playing retro games and you want some awesome sound. Well, we'll see how that sounds, but for me, being able to have something that I can move around, have a good charge on it, so even if I can play some games on it for a couple hours, I'd be happy with, or do some programming, anything like that is going to make my life a lot easier and a lot more fun. The RasPad 3 is made for the Raspberry Pi 4. There is previous versions, I do believe, that were for the 3B Plus and prior versions. So there is a limited 1-year hardware warranty. So this is going to include everything but the screen and the battery, I do believe, because batteries I don't think they cover. But the battery life, they say you should get about 3 to 5 hours. With that being said, we're not going to look at this anymore this way. Let's open it up and see what we got in there. Well, actually, you know what? Let's have a look here. So we got a bunch of writing on the back here with some choking hazards and stuff like that. I wonder if I can sharpen that up just a hair. Alright, there we go. Something like that. So on the bottom of the box we just have a package list of what's in there. And we're going to go ahead and have a look and check out this stuff. The SunFounder, their robot that I bought, the Pi-Car X, hopefully I'm going to be able to use this to be able to program that, which we'll get into after this video. But I have another project I'm working on, which I'm hoping this will help, because then I'll be able to maneuver around a bit more and basically not be strapped to my desk while I'm testing and trying things out. But that's coming up as well, so we got another project. We got projects going on all around. So let's open this guy up. I'm gonna just let her slide out nice and easy here. It weighs quite a bit. I was quite surprised. Let me just open this guy up. Oh. So, first thing we do when we actually open up the box, we get greeted by a user manual. Always good. We always need user manuals. And looks like it's fairly detailed. That's not bad. We've got, Nick here. He wants to kind of help you set up your RasPad. I love this. I love the actual detail of the user manual here. That's great. Okay, so now we've got a thin piece of foam here. I think we can probably use that as an air filter for something else later on down the road if we need some foam. And then we're greeted by the RasPad itself. That is a big boy. So I'm just going to pull this out quickly here and we'll have a quick look. As you can see, it's pretty shiny. I do enjoy that. And so this is actually pretty awesome looking at. Yeah, you can even see me in it. So do I have a protective yeah, I have a protective layer on top here, so we're going to protect the screen, so I'm not going to pull that off because I think that's meant to be there. So that looks pretty sweet. So what we'll do is we'll go more into this in a moment here. Let's just open up the other accessories here. So there is some fingerprints on here, not a huge deal. I just hope they're on the top of the screen, not underneath. And it looks like they're all on top. And yeah, I know I didn't touch it. As you can see, my fingers are not greasy. So I'm just going to put that to the side. That is a pretty hefty unit. And we're just going to bring the box back up here. And we're just going to open up and see what else we have in here. So in the bottom here we have, you know, a little power cord there. That's going to plug into our power adapter right here. And right here we have a 15 volt 2 amp brick for charging it up, so that'll be good. And we don't need that anymore. What do we got here? We got some cables. We've got a micro SD card board adapter and what looks like an accelerometer shim. So that's going to go in at some point. We'll look at those in a little bit closer here. We've got a little 5 volt DC brushless fan here. I might switch this one out for a different one that I like better, that puts a little bit more air out. And then we got our hardware kit here with our heat sinks in it. Oh, that is nice. A RasPad Phillips head screwdriver. And it actually looks pretty sweet. Okay, I actually like that. I'm not even probably going to use it because I like it that much. But maybe we'll use it for the sake of using it for this video. Yeah, we'll do that. And then in here, it looks like we have a micro, or a USB Type-C and an HDMI adapter and little Ethernet adapter cable. That's a nice flat ribbon there. Okay, so anyways, let's go ahead and we're going to start going through the manual here, and we're going to set this up according to their specifications. And I'm kind of curious to see what is going to happen, but you know, you never know. And then we've got a USB Type-C to USB Type-C connector cable. Once again, all the routing of this stuff is going to go inside under that case. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to bring that over, and let's just have a quick look at the build on this. So along the edges here, it looks fairly good. Build quality, it reminds me of an old tablet from like 15 years ago. Some knockoff Android shells. It feels good. I just hope the display itself is actually really good. That will be the big thing with me. If it's kind of not so good, then it won't be great. Yeah, anyways, so on the side of the unit here, let's just bring this into focus here. Let's go. So on the side here, on the right hand side here, we do have the battery status LEDs. We do have brightness control, or volume or brightness. That's a good question. We'll have to see what happens. And then we have our power button and our micro SD card slot. So hopefully even the micro SD card slots can be replaced in the future if need be. I just have this one feeling that, you know what, if I start dumping a bunch of different SD cards in there, eventually something's going to happen to that. But we'll see what happens. On the back here, we do have a GPIO ribbon cable output here, so that'll go out there and we'd be able to have our breadboard and everything connected on the outside of it. Makes sense. On the final side here, I'm just gonna on the final side here, we have a bunch of goodness here. So on this side here, we do have our Ethernet. We have 3 USB 3.0. And then we do have our full-sized HDMI port, and along with a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack and our power supply input here as well. Now let's head over to the back side of the unit. Alright, so on the back side of the unit here, it says remove SD card before disassembly. I assume some people have done that and broken their SD card. On the back here we also have, I do believe, 4 or 5 screws. Yep, 5 screws that will have to be removed when we go to put our Raspberry Pi in there, but we're going to do it as per what the manual tells us to do. Now, I was originally going to use their website here to be able to actually, get the manual off of it. And I went down and scrolled down, and it says we should have a documentation for their RasPad 3 here. So this manual should be on here, including some examples and all that. So when I go to open it, I just want to show you here, we get a page not found. Well, that's not so good. So we're just going to continue on with using the RasPad manual, and then I will contact someone there and inform them that yes, that link is no longer working. So back to the RasPad here, let's go ahead and we will have a look at the manual here. So in the manual here, let's have a look here. It says hello, I'm Nick. Let's set up your RasPad. Okay. Alright, what do we got here, Nick? So we've got our RasPad, heatsink screws, all our cables. That was an Ethernet, micro HDMI to HDMI. Okay, so we've got dual HDMI cables in here. So one's going to the display and then one is going to our output, or to our other output, so we can display it on a secondary monitor. Awesome, I enjoy that. Take out the RasPad, then flip it over and remove the back RasPad cover. Do I have to take the screws out to do that? It should say remove the 5 screws. Yeah. Okay, anyways, let's go ahead and remove those 5 screws that, it should say in here. Just so we know. I say that because I know with a lot of stuff, they'll say that remove that cover, and I've gone and removed the 4 screws, and then, for an example, and then the 1 screw left over, I don't associate with that. So I don't even think there's a screw in there. I just know that there's 4 on the corners, right? That's where screws belong. So I keep forgetting about items like that. So I always check a little bit more thoroughly prior to disassembling or assembling something. So with this one, they really didn't do much for letting us know exactly how many screws we would have to remove. but we'll go ahead and we will get that removed. Now let's see if this is magnetic. Yes, we have a magnetic screw or screwdriver. I'm going to go ahead and remove the sides here first, and then I'll remove that middle one, and I'll show you what I do here. So one thing a lot of people do is they just toss screws into a bin, and then when they go to put something back together, they don't know where it goes. So I'll show you what I do here, and I do this on all my projects, so that way I never have any screws left over, or screws that are missing or put in the wrong spot. And sometimes I will grab some white paper and trace out where the screws go, but for the most part, as long as you're not working on something too complex, you can get away with just making your own little example. So as you can see on the left hand side of my bench here, I have the 5 screws that I've removed in the locations that I removed them. So the bottom row is the bottom row on here, and so on, right? So now we should be able to remove this cover. I don't know how. Is there a little, maybe, there it is. Okay, so there is a little on the side here, there's a little tab thing that you can pull up on. Alright, let's have a little bit of a look inside here and see what they've done, and we'll go from there. So this looks pretty darn good. So it looks like we have 3 18650 batteries in there, and it doesn't look like we have room for very much more in there. But that being said, at least now, if something happens, we can rebuild this battery pack with either better batteries or, you know, whatever junkers we have around to get it going again. They have a nice little setup here for our all our outputs here, and so we've got basically everything here. I don't know why they didn't just make it so we slid the board in there, but that's okay. I'll accept that for now. I'll accept it. Yeah, this is not bad. I like the simplicity in here. We do have our SD card slot and everything on this side here. Okay, so with that being said, so I'm sliding this around, but I still have that piece of foam underneath there, so I'm not scratching up my screen, which we do not want to do. So is the battery already connected, or do we have to connect that? I'm going to assume that it's pre-connected, that we just have to press the power button and away we go. But let's have a look here and see what was his name again? Nick? Yeah, that's his name, Nick. Let's see what Nick has to say next. So Nick says that here is the internal structure of the RasPad. Avoid pressing these 2 speakers in case of any damage. So these 2 little... So on the very bottom of the unit here, we have our 2 little speakers. Now they're paper coned by the looks of it, so you really don't want to damage them. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to just continue on here and see what they have to say. So they said connect the Ethernet. What? No, we're missing. So they've already installed the Raspberry Pi. So Nick says connect the Ethernet port of the Raspberry Pi and the main board. And then it says connect the USB 3 port and the main board via the USB cable. Okay, so let's get our Raspberry Pi that we're going to use here. So I have one here. I can't remember which model it is off the top of my head, but we'll go with it. So I have a feeling that we should probably not screw it into the board as of yet here, just because it doesn't tell us to, and for one, so one would assume that you would screw it in right now and away you go, but that's not the case, because we're going to have to remove them if we're going to be putting our micro SD card little adapter board in right here. So I feel like this board needs to be done first prior to the others. But with that being said, we're just going to keep following what they tell us to do. So the first thing they said to do was the Ethernet. So I'm going to go ahead and plug that Ethernet in. Okay, and then plug that Ethernet into the other side here. Okay, so cables are not quite as well. I guess it'll work. I just don't like the tension on that. Okay, whatever. And we're gonna go with it. And then Nick said that we wanted to put the HDMI cable in as well. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Okay. There we go. Oh, this is... Okay, so that does not want to... what? That doesn't fit properly. So now this ribbon cable here, like, do I have it not plugged in all the way or something? How is that supposed to screw in afterwards? Okay, Nick, you better redeem yourself here soon. Alright, so let's go on to the next page here, and now it's telling us to plug in the micro HDMI cables and then the Type-C cable. So let's go ahead and plug those in. So the micro HDMI, where are ya? Okay, got these little plastic casings on them to protect the cable, so we're going to go ahead, remove those, and that's kind of cool. So it looks like they gave two different size micro HDMI right angle connectors, so they kind of fit in together, which is kind of cool. I like that. And so this inner one here, right there, is going to go to the first one on, like, this doesn't work. Okay, we're going to go there, plug that one in, and then we're going to plug that around here into that board. Like, I'm still, the screw holes are a bit off yet here, so I don't know if we can actually, like, bend this cable, or that doesn't fit very well. Okay, anyways, so USB Type-C cable is gonna go, that's the last of them, right? Okay, so we're gonna plug that guy in, and then that's gonna come over to here. Okay, and then we want that to run on the right hand side of that. There's too much tension. This isn't lining up, so I don't like that. But we're just going to keep on going and let Nick tell us what to do next. Okay, so what's Nick say now? He says plug the FFC cable in micro SD card expansion board, and then insert the micro SD card expansion board into the card slot on the Raspberry Pi. Insert the other end of the cable into the micro SD card and button board. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do that now. Okay. Okay, so I've got my ribbon cable here, and it's already connected in here, so they already did that step for us. So I'm just gonna go. This is I should have done this right at the beginning, and then okay, so that's there, but the ribbon connects on top of it. I gotta. This is stupid. No, I gotta unplug these. There's too much tension. Okay, so just to be able to screw it in, I had to remove that HDMI or the micro USB, or not the micro, the USB 3.0 cable, just to remove some of the tension on it. I've got way too much tension. And then we want to, I can't put this ribbon in yet, so I'm gonna get the M2.5 by 4 screws, and we're gonna put those in. So I think we have, so they gave 6 of them. Okay, and they're basically the same screws that are connected on the case, so for some reason you lose one, but I'm just worried about this Raspberry Pi. Like, try it there first. We'll get one backside here kind of into position, and then we'll get the front ones dealt with. We'll go right about there. So just to recap here, I'm just putting in this Phillips screw and this one here, the M2.5 by 4, and then I'll put these two in. I've removed the USB type or USB 3.0 cable for right at the moment here, just because the amount of pressure, I can't get this cable to bend to where I'm okay with it. It seems to be a little bit too big, but I'm just going to leave it for right at the moment, and once the board is screwed into place, we should be able to actually get that in properly. But based on their pictures, they have it nice and flat. I do not. So we're going to go ahead, and I'm not too fond of the pressure that the HDMI cables have here, that kind of angle, but who knows, we'll go with it for now. So we've got these guys in, and the reason why I got to mount the board now, and then I got to put the ribbon here back, or put it actually into the board here. It seems that I needed to have it mounted because, like I said, all the pressure was coming this way, and there was no way I was going to get this ribbon cable in there without any issues. So it looks like we are just, well, it says that we need to have, is this ribbon cable in wrong? I thought blue was supposed to be on the outside. Okay, we're gonna go with what they did here for now, and then we'll go ahead and change that later if need be, if we get nothing from our SD card port. I wish they would have lined it up just a little bit more. Kind of an awkward angle for this ribbon cable. Crinkle it any, bend it, that's how breaks happen. One side in, now we got the other side in. We'll just push them both down together, and that'll just have to stay like that for now. So we've now got that. Now can I, like it just seems like no matter which way I want to bend this cable, it doesn't want to be my friend. Like, it just doesn't. Like, is there a special method I have to use this for? Is there a... Okay, so we're gonna go like that, and then we're gonna, yeah, just I don't want to be forceful. Nothing should be forced, but it really wants me to force it. So far, that's the only issue I'm having with this thing, is this cable here. Like, it's too long. Like, it covers, it shouldn't be that long. It should be like another, you know, quarter of an inch shorter, or half an inch shorter almost, to be the perfect size for this, because of the way it is, it's not. So maybe someone needs to make some new cables there, but I doubt they will. But going forward in their next designs, I would definitely do that. Have the Raspberry Pi itself line up a little bit better with the ribbon, the SD card ribbon with the volume controls and all that stuff. I really don't know. This is, well, I guess we're just gonna go like this. I'm gonna try and bend that down. I'm kind of exposing some pins, but whatever. We'll see if it works. That's a little bit too much pressure. I would have liked to have had that in the lower down one. Then I can actually use the remainder of the USB connections for stuff. So adding a USB keyboard or other USB devices in there would have been ideal. Okay, so let's carry on. Let's see what Nick has to say next. It looks like the stick heat sinks in the right positions according to the insert, the Excel shim module. Okay, so we want the the module here. So I'm going to rotate this around, and we're going to put that on the GPIO. And I don't know how that's actually going to sit in there, but we will find out here in a moment. So it looks like this shim only goes one way, so it's going to go over this, just like that. I don't know if you can see that well. Let me just bring it on down a little bit here. So right here, come on camera, calm down. Okay, so right here I've put the shim down over the pins there, and I'm just going to try to get it a little bit lower on that pin set. I'm going to assume we need to go as low as we can. So I wonder if that's going to actually affect, no, it shouldn't affect our ribbon cable when we go to connect a ribbon cable here to output to our breadboard. So the next thing up is to put the ribbon cable on it. So the ribbon cable is probably what's going to lock that shim into place, but it's pressure fitted pretty good right now. I'm not going to put the GPIO ribbon cable on here quite yet, because I want to come up with a little bit better of an idea for it, and have it so we can actually, to me, they should have had the male GPIO to a female connector on the outside, or a male to male connector. I really think they should have done like you know, a male to male adapter board for it, so then you can plug your own ribbon cable in and have a little port cover on the back of it, so that way you can, that's just me, but so far the only thing that's really bugging me is these cables here, the Ethernet and the USB 3. So now we have that, we need to get our fan installed. So we need to move this guy out of here. Nick is telling us to do some more work, so we're going to do that. Okay. So I've got my base here, and we're going to just grab, it's not that easy to see, is it? Alright. Okay. So I already have shims on my Raspberry Pi, so I'm not going to be putting any other shims on that came in the kit on it, because I can just save them for another one later on down the road. Okay, so now we want to, so I am skipping a few things, but that's just because I want to. So now we're going to put the fan in. And with the rotation of the fan, are we wanting air to come in or out? So that is the question. Which way do they want us to put the fan? So we want the logo side is against the bottom. So on the, so it's telling me that this logo here on the back of the motor needs to be on there. So we should be able to, what? Why is, so is it on an angle? Well, that makes no sense. Okay, that's how they want it. But it's not, huh. Whatever, let's just do it. I'm humoring them right at this moment here. So I've got my screws here, and this will be the test here. Will my screwdriver that came with the kit here actually fit in there as well? Just because it is a little bit bigger of a screwdriver. Oh, look at that. Nice. So it does fit. And yeah, I don't know. Couldn't tell you. To me, it should be more flush. But that being said, to me, that is just something they could have changed on the mold here for the angle of this. That to me is just a little bit of a design flaw. I would have liked to have seen no actual air gaps underneath the fan here. I'll show you that in just a moment here once I get the final screws into place here. So we've got that. And hopefully this is the way this ribbon, or this should be. If not, we'll have to move it around, but that's okay. Okay, and we're not going like Hercules tight on this. You gotta remember that too. So they gave us 2 extra screws so far for both the Raspberry Pi mount and the fan mount here as well. Okay, so it does look like that's what I have here. So let's go ahead. Well, let's get on to the next one. Now we're going to connect the cable here. Supposedly the cable just magically grew 6 feet. And then we're going to close it up and flash our image and give it a try. So right on. Well, we'll follow along with the book. We'll take a look. Okay, so I'm not using the heat sinks that were included in the kit. This cable here on the fan, we're going to plug in over here on the main board. So it will just go in here. And we'll just pop that in there. Okay. And then we're just gonna have that now closed up. Hopefully that's everything in there. Okay, it went back together nicely there. And then we're just gonna go ahead. I am going to go back in order of my screws that I removed, and we're just gonna get that all tightened back up. I think I had everything connected. Once it's connected in there and you put the case on, you just forget about it. You don't worry about it. It's all good in there. You know, nothing can go wrong in there. So I would like to use this for quite a few different reasons, but one being able to just demo other operating systems and be able to use it as a portable machine. And yeah, just the portability of it is what's really interesting me. I will definitely have to get a Raspberry Pi 4 8GB model for this unit though. I think this is a 4GB model I put in there, but it could be a 2. Either way, it'll work for what we want it to. I'm not going to be doing anything too hardcore with it for the first little bit. We'll just be testing it out. Alright, so there we go. Now we should be able to flip it over. I don't want to flash an image right now. I don't have many micro SD cards left. So what I've done is I have just stolen one from my demo Pi. And so basically into the micro SD card slot here. I just want to see if I can see an orientation of which way we have to plug this in. I think it's going to be upside down. I could be wrong. Well, yes. So when you're putting it in there, upside down that guy, and away you go. So we're just gonna skip. So we've done the enclosure part here, and it's actually gonna tell us, you know. So there is a RasPad image. Okay, so we're gonna have to. Okay, so if we go to their site here, I have this on my other Raspberry Pi. I just want to see if we can find if there's a download section just on this page here. I would like to try the RasPad software itself. So we're just going to go to raspad.com/pages/download. And that should bring us to the RasPad OS download here. Okay. So we're wanting this one just because it is going to have all the actual drivers and everything pre-configured, right? So we're going to try this out and see how this goes and see what it's all about. So let's go ahead and download that guy. And oh, can we actually get the user manual here too here? What do we got here? Okay. So we've got the manual here of how to, yeah, there we go. So he's got that upside down. I wasn't sure. Oh, I don't know if I want to try it. To me, there's nothing. Oh, but we do have the Easy Block Studio on here, which might actually connect properly with our PiCar X. Ah. Okay. I'm intrigued. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a moment here. I'm just going to boot up this unit here and just double check and make sure I don't have any files on the micro SD card that I have installed on it right now, and that I want to keep. And then if not, we'll just download this unit here. So let's go. So I'm just going to go ahead, I'm going to hit the power button on the side of the unit here and see what happens. Let's see if we actually have power, or do we need to actually charge it. Are we running? Okay, let's plug it in. So all I'm going to be using is just a 16 gigabyte micro SD card for this, just because that's what I have for my demo Pi, and all my big cards are not in here right at the moment. So I'm gonna go ahead, plug that guy in. That guy in. We've got a charge indicator on the side of the of the case here, so it is flashing that yes, it is charging, but showing me the battery's pretty dead. So I wonder if we can power it on with it on. No? Okay, I'm gonna give this about 10 or 15 minutes and see if we can get this charge up to par, and I will then try to get that to boot, and hopefully by then the download should be done as well. So in the meantime, I'm going to just double check that there's nothing on here that needs to be addressed. So basically it's just telling me everything that we're gonna do no matter what here in a moment. So the basic updating, so that's okay, we're good there. So the rest of this book is no good. Well, it's good, but we're gonna cover all that stuff here in a moment when it comes to the setup here. I just don't know why I don't have any power. Did I disconnect the micro USB-C inside? I don't think I did. Did I? Or was there something? Usually they don't connect the battery right away. But I don't see... I don't see Raspberry Pi to the main board, blah blah blah. Okay, I don't know if you can hear it or not, but the fan in this, which I was worried about right off the bat, is exactly what I thought it would be. I don't know if you can hear that, but it gets louder in certain positions. So I'm definitely going to have to open it up again and see what's going on in there. So what I've done is I've got the Sunfounder RasPad 2.6, I do believe it is, operating system installed on my micro SD card. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to plug that guy in, and we're going to put it upside down and in until it clicks. Okay, now to turn it on, all we're going to do is hold the power button down for probably about 10 seconds. Seems to be the rough time it needs. Oh, no. Alright, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I don't know, 5 seconds or so. And then it's going to go to no cable. And we're going to set up this guy here. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to turn this light off. Fortunately, there's nothing I can really do about the top one. I guess we can turn it off. There we go. That should work a little bit better. So we have the RasPad logo boot screen there. Alright. See what we got here. I wonder if I can angle this up just a little bit. Choose your time zone. Okay. America. Where are we going? We want... So I'm on the West Coast. America. We'll go with Los Angeles. Okay, we want English. Okay, reboot now. And it is a lot nicer. It's hard to tell the color on here because of the screen with the camera. But it is a nice color on here. It's a little washed out on the recording here. But just so you're aware that that's not what I'm seeing. I'm seeing it a little bit more vibrant. As soon as I get it booted up here, I'll go ahead and get VNC Viewer installed on there so we can then swap it over to the desktop here and have a little better look at it here. I do like that little logo. That's good. Remember, I only have a 16 gigabyte card in here, and I think the OS has used up like 6 gigs already. So now we're connected this way. We don't really have a dashboard or anything here, eh? Huh, I don't know if I'll like this. Okay, there we go. Now we have a desktop here. Okay, so I was just... This menu here must bring up this here. Click that to come back here. Okay, perfect. Alright. So, let's get VNC Viewer. So we should be able to go over here. Go to Accessories. Add removes. No, that's not what I wanted. Doesn't have. Oh, we have bookshelf on here. Let's go to Raspberry Pi configuration. And then we're going to go to performance. I'm going to turn this up a little. Well, no, we're just going to go VNC SSH for now. We're not going to be using this for GPIO programming right at the moment. Then we're going to get turn on Wi-Fi. Okay, country, we're going to go down to Canada. No, we're not in Antarctica. We are in Canada, okay. I do like this RasPad logoing on here. Someone did a good job on that. Okay, so now we should be able to connect to our Wi-Fi. Let me just do this. Okay, now we're connected to Wi-Fi. I'm just gonna bring up my tab here. So 151 is our new IP address to connect to. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring up VNC Viewer, and we will connect to that, and I will bring it up on the desktop. Oh, apps, live, VNC, connect. 192.168.100.151 connect, and let's just hope that they use the basic Raspberry password. Raspberry. We'll see if that works. If that works, then we're good. User. Okay, I'm just gonna go over to there, and then we're gonna go to preferences, Raspberry Pi. It's fine. Change password. New password. Okay, let's try that again. Okay. So now we should be able to go to here. Alright, so this is the dashboard we have. It's definitely not as stretched out on here. Here we go. We have the RasPad OS loaded up on our RasPad 3. Once again, let's just have a quick look here. We have our side menuing here. They did a nice clean job here to kind of guide us. To me, that looks pretty good. Everything's kind of loaded the way it should be. So one thing I want to do is I want to get this fully updated. So what do we got here? Qt5 configured recommended software. What's left in here that's not installed? The fan on this thing is definitely louder than I was hoping it would be. So like I said, we're gonna have to play around with the fan in this unit because I don't want it to be that loud. So I want to see if we can update this. Let's see what it'll actually let us update. Like this is no, that's a different one. Try installing a couple things here, make sure we can actually install them, and have a look here. I do not like that, so I might definitely change the operating system if we're unable to keep things updated, because there is going to be those beneficial things for the Raspberry Pi itself, unless there's an actual updater in here that I'm missing. If they have an actual updater, which it doesn't look like they do. Let's bring up Task Manager for a second here. So I do have my 4 Raspberry Pi 4GB model being used for this. You know, it's a clean dashboard. I'm not too fond of, you know, this much yellow on an operating system dashboard, but it does work. It does make it feel like it is meant for, you know, getting things done. The layout here of the home apps and all the different how everything's laid out like this, I do enjoy this, and I wish that the Raspberry Pi itself had this in the, as far as a dashboard that we can quickly adjust to. I do like this setup, but we're not going to go too much into that. I just want to see how things kind of respond. So what I'm going to do now is if we go, let's get out of here, and then let's go close that guy. We're going to open this up a web browser, and we're just going to try playing some music. I want to see if those speakers are actually going to sound half decent. So if I'm on like any sort of, well, anything really, am I going to be able to hear it properly? So let's go to I don't know, let's go just have a look here, see if we can actually get in here. Oh, I don't want to log in. Okay, let's try. Alright, let's try some audio here. So we'll just go onto YouTube here, and I'll load up my intro video. It should bring us right to it here. So we got that right here. Okay, so that does seem to be working. So that's not bad. Um, yeah, like it's okay. I don't like not being able to control um, the updates. I'm sure it's not going to be an issue, but I don't want to do too much on here that might, something I might need to update and I can't comes up. I don't want that. I want to be able to know that my image is 100% working. So it is working. We are on Wi-Fi right now. Yeah, I don't know. So Bluetooth, once again, we can really customize everything when it comes down to the RasPad. Um, but yeah, I'm happy with the way that this went together, minus those two cables, minus the loud fan, and minus the operating system that needs some tweaking. As far as Raspberry Pi OS, you always need to tweak a bit here and there. So I wouldn't expect anything else, but it is hard to get a good working OS right away. Usually something you have to tweak or fix. Anyways, this has been a fun experience. That was a lot of fun. A couple things that I didn't enjoy were those ribbon cables, the mounted tension on the Raspberry Pi with those cables. I didn't enjoy the fact that I do have the unit plugged in, powered on, and the charge indicator this whole time. And let me tell you, it's been a couple hours now, and I'm still flashing on the first charge bar. Now, the LED battery indicator will indicate 33, 66, and 100% charge. So, yeah, hopefully there's nothing wrong with my unit. But if there is, I know I can just replace those batteries with ones that work. A bit of an annoyance because that's a few bucks in parts that I don't want to have to spend. The fan, I will definitely be checking out what I can do to make that more efficient, as it is not the greatest thing in the world. But all in all, standing it up on its side, laying it down flat, using it, the touch screen, super responsive, really nice. It's a nice 10.1 inch screen. I definitely can see myself using this, throwing this in my bag and taking it with me on, to work or to different things where I need to have a computer there or a laptop there. And it's something that's not too expensive, that it's not going to break the bank. I'm still going to be able to do everything a Windows computer is going to be able to do. As for the last couple of years now, I've been only using Raspberry Pis as an operating system as my day-to-day units. Mind you, I've been using my Windows-based computers for video recording and editing, but other than that, I've been using purely Raspberry Pis. And the great thing about that is you can do so much with it with the Raspberry Pi. So I just recently finished a couple of projects on the Raspberry Pi that have nothing to do with Raspberry Pi. And one of them is coming up here. I'm going to be hopefully getting that all finalized soon. So stay tuned. That's going to be a secret. Only a couple people know about it. So stay tuned. There is going to be a cool surprise and a cool giveaway coming up. Nothing related to Raspberry Pi, mind you, but I will be posting it to you guys. So with that all being said, I'd like to thank you all for watching today. You have yourself a wonderful day, a wonderful week, and take care, eh? And hey, pick up yourself a RasPad. It's a great way to have a development kit that you can move around and not worry about having cables everywhere. So hopefully I'll try out a few more in the future, But for now, the RasPad definitely is my go-to, or will be my go-to for a lot of projects, as long as I can get those batteries working. Take care.